Then we take up question on synapses of the gravitation. Synapses on the gravitation. Look, you know, with a basic observation by the Newton, that when he noticed that the apple fell down, so like other people, he didn't eat it and he was thinking why this apple is coming in the downward direction. Thereby he proposed a Newton's law of gravitation, according to which every body in the universe attracts every other body with a force which is directly proportional to the product of the mass and inversely proportional to the square of the distance. And he introduced the property as a constant of proportionality. It is called gravitational constant, and its value is given by 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 11 SI unit. Unit for this is equal to, you know, it is Newton meter square kg to the power of minus 2. And even you can write the dimension for this also. It is very important. The dimension is, this is the dimension. For force, you know that it is mass into acceleration is the force, and it is L square. And therefore it is m and it is m. You know that m will be negative here. It is L cube m minus 1 t minus 2. This is the dimension for the gravitation constant. See, you know that because of this gravitational force, this body gets attracted and its mass is m, and capital M is the mass of the earth. Therefore this body accelerates in the downward direction, and therefore the force acting on that body is given by not ma, it is mg, because of this gravitational force that comes in the downward direction with an acceleration. That is a small g. That is, it comes down with an acceleration equal to the gravitational, that's a acceleration due to gravity, and it is provided by the earth. That's why we call it as a acceleration due to gravity. So you know that this is the equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. You equate them. On equating them, you get the relationship that small g is equal to g into capital M divided by r square. It's a very, very important relationship between the small g and the capital G. What's the meaning of this equation? G is inversely proportional to the r, and the first one is that here we will not find the mass. That's a small mass you will not find. What does it mean? That your g, small g, is independent of, it is independent of the mass of the falling body. That is what with the explanation of Galileo goes, wherein on the Leaning Tower of Pisa, he allowed a feather and a coin. We expected the coin would come first, later the feather next. No, the observation is that whenever there is no air resistance, feather and the coin, they simultaneously reach the earth, because irrespective of the mass of the body, earth provides the same acceleration for all the body. You take one heavier body, the lighter body, you drop it from the same height, they reach simultaneously. That goes from this equation. That's why for a physics, mathematics is very important to understand. G and R are inversely related. Look here, in this what you will find is, earth is not a perfect sphere and earth is an oblate in shape, whose equatorial diameter is more than the polar diameter, and it is a difference of 43 kilometers. And therefore your acceleration due to gravity is less at the equator and g is more at the pole. Therefore, as you move from equator to the pole, look, your weight increases. You know why your weight increases? Because your weight is equal to mass into acceleration. Your mass will not change. When you move from India to the London, your weight changes. You know why it changes? Because your mass will not change. Your size of the heart, your brain and skull will not change. Only the g changes. That's why your weight increases as you move from equator to the pole. It's very important, very, very important thing. Now we come to the variation of small g with height. Variation of g with height. You know that as the altitude increases or as the height increases, acceleration due to gravity decreases. That means if this is the radius of the earth, and as you move here, you know that as the height increases, acceleration due to gravity decreases. Because if g, small g is the acceleration due to gravity on the surface, this is at this point, your g dash is equal to g into 1 minus 2h by r. Very important. See, when you go to the depth, with the increase in the depth, see, as the depth increases, that is, if you move into the earth, your acceleration due to gravity g decreases. How you know this is the earth? On the surface, acceleration due to gravity is g. Suppose you move into the earth. So when you move to the earth, you know that the total, so our capital R is the radius of the earth, this is a capital R is the radius of the earth, and it is a small h if you move into the earth. G would decrease, and the formula for g dash is equal to g into 1 minus h by r. Very important. Small g, so at a depth h. See, look, when r is equal to h, that means at the center, what you will find is your acceleration due to gravity is equal to 0. So it's a very, very important thing. And next is coming to the very important fact, there's a density of the earth. That also remember. Density is given by the mass of the earth divided by earth is a sphere and its volume is given by 4 by 3 pi r cube. And therefore you can give it as 3 into m 4 pi r square into r. Now what you do is in the place of r square you put gm by g, and you will see that it is 3 into m whole divided by 4 pi r square is. So you can write small g m by into r. Mm get cancelled, and therefore the formula is 3g divided by 4 pi g. So mm get cancelled and r is the answer for this one. So very, very, very important. Now we take up Kepler's laws of planetary motion. See, you know that Kepler proposed planetary motion based on the Copernicus heliocentric theory. You know that the Ptolemy proposed geocentric theory. According to it, Earth is at the center, rest of the planets are revolving around the Earth. But it is the Copernicus who proposed that Sun is at the center, Earth is not, and thereby he proposed heliocentric theory. Using this heliocentric theory, you must be knowing that it's a Tycho Brahe who measured the distances of different planets using this heliocentric theory. But even the Kepler also proposed a planetary motion. So what the Kepler proposed, the planetary motion are based on this heliocentric theory. Remember, very important it is. What is the first law? According to first law, every planet revolves around the sun in an elliptical orbit with sun at one of the focus. Remember that. So a planet, suppose if this is a planet, revolve around, let's say it is an earth, revolve around the sun with sun at one of the focus. That means sun can be either here or here. Look here, if the sun is here, earth is far away. Suppose let us say sun is not here, sun is here. Then this point, say at this point is far away. Therefore, every planet revolve around the sun in an elliptical orbit with sun at one of the focus. Second one is, when the planet is revolving around the sun, remember this, it's also very important. When the planet is revolving around the sun, it sweeps out equal area in equal intervals of time. See, here is the sun. Let us say here is a planet. When it moves from A to B, it sweeps out certain area. In the next instant, let us say it comes over here, C to D, and it sweeps out the same area in the same time. Therefore, it sweeps same area in the same intervals of time. Therefore, that is what we say, that aerial velocity is equal to constant. Very important. That is, aerial velocity is dA by dt is constant. Now you, in the same second law, and even in the first law also, you look here. When the planet is far away, that is called aphelion. So when it is at the aphelion, remember, it moves slower. So aphelion means it is far away point. It is away point. It's called aphelion. When the planet is at the perihelion, perihelion means, look, when it is the closer, it moves faster. So perihelion means it is nearer. So it moves faster. Very important. And the third, thereby, so when far away moving slow, and when it is closer it moves fast, and thereby it maintains the aerial velocity constant. Then the third law is very important. Square of the period of revolution is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance between the planet and the sun. Mean distance between the, because you know that here is an elliptical orbit, is not like a circle. Here the distance varies. Therefore, you should take the mean distance. These are the important laws of planetary motion. Now we come to what is known as a satellite motion. We come to what is known as a satellite and the satellite motion. See, the principle of, you remember always the principle of launching the satellite. Suppose you are standing here. Here is an earth. You are standing at the topmost point. You are standing at the topmost point, and therefore, if you throw a stone, it will fall here. If you just throw it with a higher velocity, it will go. It will reach the earth here. If you still throw it at a higher velocity, it revolves around the earth, and it is called orbital velocity. If you still give a higher velocity, then it escapes from the earth's gravitational pull. That means it depends on the velocity that you are giving for the satellite. That is very important. That's why we take it to a particular point, and thereby we use a space vehicle, that is a rocket, in order to launch this satellite. So you know that moon is the only earth natural satellite, and earth has innumerable number of artificial satellites. Okay. And expression for the orbital velocity, you know that your orbital velocity for the planet is very important. You remember the logic. For your satellite, so this is the earth, let us say this is the earth, and you are launching the satellite, and for the satellite to revolve around the earth, this is the satellite, revolve around the earth, centripetal force is required. So centripetal force is required, very important, and that centripetal force is mv square by r is provided by Earth's gravitational pull, and that is gmm by, so you call it as equal to capital R square, where capital R is the radius. Cancel off m and m. That means it does not depend on the mass of the satellite. This special velocity we call it as orbital velocity v naught, and it is given by root of gm divided by r. And you know that your small g is equal to capital Gm by r square. In the place of Gm, you substitute gr square, you will get v naught is equal to root of rg. This is the expression for the orbital velocity. For the Earth's satellite, it is 7.9 kilometer per second. Very important. If you give that amount of velocity, it would revolve around the earth. Otherwise, it will fall down. Now we come to escape velocity. See, escape velocity, you know that it is any body, if you just throw it, it will not go away, it will come back, because your earth is pulling it. For that satellite to escape, suppose it is the earth, for it is to escape from the earth gravitational pull, it should possess a kinetic energy. That kinetic energy should be exactly equal to the potential energy of the earth. That is called gravitational potential energy. Therefore, the kinetic energy is equal to gravitational potential energy. Remember this. What is the formula for the kinetic energy? Half mv square. What is the gravitational potential energy? Gmm by r. If you write r square, it is a force. If you write r, it is a potential energy. Look, that satellite should possess a kinetic energy equal to earth pull. If it possesses energy more than this, it will escape. That velocity we call it as an escape velocity. cancel the m, and the formula that we are getting is, so 2 into gm by r. My dear students, remember all these formulae which are very, very important. And if you write in the place of gm there's a relation, then we write it is to be equal to root of r into g. It's very, very important formula. And if you compare with the orbital velocity, it is root 2 into v naught. Remember, your escape velocity is 11.2 kilometer per second for the Earth's satellite. If you give this amount of velocity, the satellite would escape from Earth's gravitational pull. This is the escape velocity. Sometimes they will ask you the ratio of the escape velocity to the orbital velocity, root of 2 instead of root of 2, they write sometimes 0.414. Remember that. And on top of it, you remember the relation that your VE is greater than V naught. Now we come to the period of the satellite. We come to the period of the satellite. See, you must be knowing that this satellite, when it is revolving around the Earth, definitely it has a time period. How to calculate the time period? So you know that your V is equal to R into omega. That is R into, in the place of omega, you can write 2 pi by T. And therefore your capital T is equal to 2 pi R divided by V. So in the place of you write V naught, you substitute the value for V naught as root of Rg, and ultimately, so it is 2 pi capital R divided by root of Rg, and you will get a formula that 2 pi into root of R by G when the satellite is close to the Earth. See, the satellite is away from the, it is at a height h, then this period is given by the formula 2 pi into root of R plus h divided by G. See, this formula we are using when the satellite is very close. If the satellite is at a height h, then your formula is R plus h. When it is at a height h, if it is very close to that, T is equal to 2 pi into R by G. If it is at a height h, then we write this formula. And even the orbital velocity also, V naught is equal to root of G into R plus h. When it is close to Earth, h is 0, root of gr. And now the important thing is what is known as the condition of weightlessness. Weightlessness. See, what is a weightlessness condition? You know that when a satellite is revolving around the Earth, the whole of Earth's gravity will be used to provide the centripetal force. Therefore, for a person inside, no force is acting on. So, force acting on the person is equal to 0. When force acting on the person is equal to 0, you know that your mg is equal to 0. What is this mg? Weight is equal to 0. Look, my dear student, we have a weight because our Earth is pulling it. If you go to the moon, you will be knowing that the people are flying because g is less there. Here it so happens that the whole of Earth's gravity is utilized to move the satellite around the Earth. For a person, no force is acting on. And therefore, his mass will not be 0. So, G is 0. This condition of zero gravity is called as a weightlessness condition. And it is experienced when the astronaut is in a spaceship, it is moving around the Earth. See, under this zero gravity condition, up and down has no meaning. If you want to drink the water, water will not come to your mouth because no gravity is there. Often gravity is created to make the drinking and eating possible for an astronaut. This is